Hi, welcome to the channel. Today we're covering the Abba Skylift, how to set it up and how to use it. Right, let's get started. This is the Abba Skylift. It comes roughly assembled like this when you get it. You've just got a few bits to do, like connect this nut and ball here and that one and the one underneath here. That's to lock it into place. And you've got this little thing. This is probably the weakest part of it, to be honest. It's just a very small spring and a little hook which latches. There's your main arm, and then you've got these. There's one here, and one here. If you look at the back of it. Now I've marked them A, B and C, and they're just for the other parts to attach to it, which we'll go through. Right, these are also the parts you get with it. You get a full instruction booklet. Each page tells you how to set it up. This is how it's all come. I've already set my wheels up and everything already. And you got the diagrams, and it's well informed, to be honest. It's not hard to follow. Even shows you. I'm going to show you how to do that anyway. You got some Allen keys. That's your pin to lock it into place. That's for attaching your cable to put it into different modes. They're your adapters. What is important, you get the right adapter for your bike. That's for an R1. It's for an 07 R1. So you need to get yours. It does fit others, I will say, which I'll show you later on. You've got different arms, which I'll come to, and these are for your bottom legs, which I'm going to set up first. Right, so what I've done here, I've just laid out the legs next to where they actually go. Now I've marked that as A. That one goes on that side. That one's differently shaped, but that does go into that one next to where that is. Then I've got B, which is the longest leg, and then I've got C, which is the other straight. Right, now to get it going, I'm going to put C in first because it does actually lean over to this side. If we can get it up like that, it'll make it a lot easier. So all you do, make sure the 6mm bolts are loose, lift it up, push it in, and what you can see is there's actually an arrow and a line. You want that to go in until it's just in. So that's where we're at. And then what we'll do is we'll just tighten that up. So you've got one on the inside, outside, and one on the inside. Just make sure they're double tight. And it's same on B. So you've got your marks. Make sure it's the right way. Shove it all the way in. 6mm Allen key. To do the bolts up, make sure you do both bolts up. Make sure you give it a good tighten. Like so. So they're all done. Like I said, I marked them B and C, so whenever I take it apart, I know which legs go in which. It's a lot quicker. Now here we've got A. Now what I will say is these are colour coded, believe it or not. There's a red dot in there. On this one, it's got a red dot. Same as on B and C. I think one's purple and one's yellow, I believe. Now to fit this on, it's actually got a side leg, like so. Now that faces down, so then it can run on the actual floor. Put it in, tighten them up. Now, once you've got them tight, make sure you do go around and retighten, because now it's flat, it does actually move across the floor. What you're doing is, because it's all on one level, it could have loosened the bolts off. So all I'm doing, I'm just checking that they're all nice and tight, so that we have no errors. Right, within our parts, this is what they call the position screw. So this screw will determine on what angle you want the actual bike to be. If you want it to do a wheelie or go nose down first, actually fits into here. Now it has got a locking nut, so when you put it in, you can tighten it up, and then that locking nut can go where you need it to go. I will show you that proper in a while, because I will put it into all the positions. If you want it in the horizontal, this is where we put this arm in, and it fits in there. Right, before you go using it, these two parts are important. Now these, if I go to a bike, these actually fit on your frame, on the side of your frame like so. The two different sizes, you've got the smaller one and the larger one. Now these fit onto this part. Now what I will say is, you've got the small one. Some bikes do actually fit that. What you do, you put that on, tighten it up with the grub screw, and make sure that's, don't over tighten, but just make sure it's tight so that doesn't come out. Now that will not fit on some bikes. It does on ones with a small bolt and a small nut, but this fits in like that, and that is the correct size to fit on that one, like that. So when you're doing it, make sure you've got your bolt in the right size. Right, that's it nearly set up. Now I'm going to show you how to use it so that you get used to it before you put a bike on it. Now it does move around freely, so you can move it left, right, up, down. Now only two, look, you get 3 wheels on it, so it is tripod. Now out of them wheels, only 2 are brakes, which you just step on it, and that's the brakes. It stops it moving. And all you do, just give it a little kick, and it releases it to make it move again. Right, before you actually use it with your bike, just give it a little test. Now, you have to fix these on, look, as you can see, it's got that, and then this fits over the top, so you can switch it on or off. Just be careful about that. There is a grub screw, which, same again, if you give it a little tighten up, it will stay on there. There you go, fixed. So just make sure that you tighten everything up before you use it. Now, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So if you turn it right, you can actually start using it. When you want to let the bike down, you turn it left. So I'm going to show you. Turn it right. Now, what I will say is what I found. Using your foot on this pedal isn't brilliant. It's best to do it by hand. You can get it to a better angle as well. And as you can see, it's lifting up. The spring literally just pulls it back down. There's your hydraulic. And as you can see, it's lifting up. Now, what you'll notice is, on the main bar, you've got holes at different levels. So let me just find a hole here. There we go, look. So what you can do is you can get back to that level, and then you've got a pin, which will fit in, and that secures it. So it saves it, it will save it if it falls down, if it loses any pressure from the hydraulic. And of course this, you can take it right up to the top, which might just take a bit of pumping. Like I said, I find it better with my hand. You can be more accurate. Your foot seems to take forever. What I will say, I have used this for probably over a year. I had a bike actually sat on this for a year, and no issues at all, no leaks, no nothing. Put the pin in. What I will say is it will drop and it will rest on that pin. Now when it rests on that pin, don't worry, just to get it off, you just give it another lift. And this, believe it or not, this has been brilliant in reality, because there's been no leaks, no nothing. I've come to it, I've been able to move bikes around. It moves. I am going to show you with the bike on what it's like to move. So if you want to let it down, pull the pin out, and all you do, twist it left, and it'll come off. It'll go down. There you go. And of course, you can control how quick it goes up or down. So it's like more weight on it, the quicker it's going to go down. Just be wary of that. Right, so now I've got my motorbike near enough ready. Now there is a couple of things you need to be aware of. Now, on your Abba Skylift, you've got these. Now, that's a small hole, and that's the wide one. Now, this one is the correct one for an R1, which fits on there. Now, what you can notice is, now, there's my rear sets, there's my quick shifter. I can't get that actually on there. So what I'm going to have to do is, I'm going to have to remove this arm so I can get that on first. Good advice, your bottom fairing, take that off first as well, because if you want to do any work on your exhaust or from below the bike, you're not going to get in because of that bottom fairing, because it'll hit on this. So if you remove your bottom fairing, now what I have done, I've just removed the gear lever. I've just tied it up against here for now. And I've also removed the bottom fairing. Now what I am going to do is, I'm going to get this. This is what your cables fit onto. Now this fits into here. Now what I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to do it so that it can either wheelie or it can go nose down so that the back ends up. Your best option, tighten it fully in. And then this nut here, that's like a locking nut. And all you're going to do, just tighten it on. So once you've got that far, I'm going to put the large cup on, because that cup was on there. Look, cup on. Then I'm going to get it into position. Now to get it into position, I have to put it in there. Now before I get any of that, there is another part that I need to add. So the piece I need to add is this. Now I am just going to put that side, but I'm not going to forget this part, because that's the part that fits into the bike frame on this side. That's the proper one for the Yamaha R1 to 2007, and it fits in there. But then there's this part, which if you look, it's got a bit of grease in there. That's greased, and that goes on there. Now I can't fit that yet until I've threaded it through. So what I have to do is threading it through the bike, so that's roughly in place. So I've got it on the bolt, if you can see. Now this is the awkward part, because I've got to try and literally get that, the bike stood up, and get this on at the same time. So what I'm doing, I'll just show you. I'm sliding it on, but I'm not tightening this bolt up yet, because what I want to do is I want to stand it up, lean it, get that into that hole, and then I can tighten it up. I'll put the camera away so you can actually see me get it all in one. Right, so this is the part where I have to lean the bike up, move my stand forward, and push it so it's close. It's not quite on there, so what I have to do is tighten it up, lift it till that part matches, and then push it forward, and then it's in place. Right, now I've got the one side in, I need to think about getting that pin in now. So that's in, and all I'm going to do, it's a case of balancing, I must admit, and that is going to push forward until it fits in that hole. Now, I've not tightened it up, I've just literally pushed it into that hole, and it's there. Now what I'm going to do is, I am actually going to tighten that bolt up. Right, that should have the bike. So I've tightened that bolt, just coming around, making sure that's in. Is it in fully? Right. That's not far off. Now just to tighten it up, I'm going to screw that in. Right. I've not over tightened it, but I tightened that in, and that has actually got it. Right, once we've got here, make sure you tighten this bolt. It's just a safety. Literally, you don't want that. Right, now we're coming to the strap. It comes in two parts. That's your top part, and that's your bottom part. There's your strap. Make sure your strap's straight. And what you've got to do is you've got to push that down as far as you can with your thumb and try and thread it up through there so it comes through. So that's going to be your main loop. Now this top part, all that does, push it down, thread it through again. Now how that works is, when you've got it on your bike, you lock that, that comes down, and it's like a double lock, because you've got teeth holding there, teeth holding in there, and it shouldn't be able to, and that's a safety device so that it can't pull through. Right, mine's got bobbins on, so mine has got a bobbin on. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it so that that bobbin, oh, sorry about that, that bobbin lines up with that bobbin. And what I'm going to do is open it up, get it as long as I can. Now, that side will fit round there, that fits round my bobbin, and then I'm going to tighten the bottom one up, just to show you, and tighten the bottom one up, move it down, and then this top one goes down as a safety device. Now how this is set, now I'll tell you what I do, thread it round, pull it through and pull it, so it's not a knot, but you've secured it again. Yeah, so literally I've just secured it a bit more just by tying it round and threading it through. To take it off, you just pull that, and it's quite easy, to be honest. So it's just like, in my mind, it's going to hold. Now it's on that bottom bobbin, it's on my top bobbin, which it will dig into that as I lift it. Now, as it's set, that is going to pull a wheelie. So by lifting it, which tighten and lift, now it does start lifting. What's happening is it's putting pressure on that cable. But look, the front wheel's coming up high, the back wheel's still low. As I lift it, what's happening is this has got all the tension, it's holding that back down as that lifts. Now if I took that off, the bike could go forward because of the weight of the engine on this side. I'll show you that in a bit. Well, right, so it's still going. I'm going to look, it's only just gone past the first hole. You know there's these holes there. I'm going to take it to the next hole. Still going. There's the hole. So there. So I've got the hole. Now what I need to do is I need to put the pin in. Thread it through, put it down. That's the bike secure. If we go around the front, you can see what sort of wheelie it's doing. Better wheelie than I can do, let's put it that way. And then you can work all on this front, all around this end. Lots of access. You can also work on the back. So that's it wheeling. So that's setting the wheelie. Now what I will show you, just give me a second here. So I'm going to set it up. This is how you can move it. So literally, you can move it, you can spin it. You can move it. It takes a little bit of effort, but in reality, it's super strong. I've just pulled out with front wheel. It's going absolutely nowhere. Let's put it that way. Right, so now I've done that one. I'm now going to let it down. Don't forget to pull your pin out. It's not going to go nowhere. And literally, just be wary, because as I turn this left, all the weight's going to come down. So as I do left, watch. That's nice and controlled. If I just yanked it in a one, it'd just fly down. But you can literally control it, stop it, control, stop. And then it's sat back on the floor. Now what I will do is, let me just undo that strap. Now, because I didn't tie a knot in that, look, one finger, one hand, undo that, let off that top lock, give it a bit loose, and that comes off. Now, if you don't put one on, what's going to happen is, tighten it up, lift. Now, this time, the back end lifts up, and the front stays on the floor. Like I say, I do it by hand, it's so much easier. So look. So if you want to work on the back, That's how you do that. Front still on the floor. The only problem with this one, you can't actually move it. You can move it back and forth, but that is on the floor, so it's going to stop you. So by putting it that, do as much work as you want on back, not really on the front on that one. Right, that's the wheelie. Now, it's totally different when it comes to wanting the bike to be on a level instead of on an angle. Now, let me just let that down. Look, no hands, just controlled it. Still no hands, it's coming down nice and steady. It's on the floor, it's fully off, nothing's holding it. Right, what I need to do to get it to be on a level when I use it, let go of that. So that needs to come off, because this then goes in a different place. So I've removed it from there. Then what I have to do is we have to go to this part. Now I'm going to part thread it just to make it a little bit easier. Now look, your nut's on that side, or should I say your bolt. No, it is your nut. And then I've got to thread it into this side. So that side's got nothing on. That locking nut will go onto that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to thread that through. Get it somewhere near about. Now this, if I take it over, it goes into this part. So what I'm trying to do is make sure, now the Abba should face out, because look, there's your bobbin. And what I'm trying to do is push it into that hole. Bolts and the locking nuts in the way. There you go. And try to get that as close to it as I can. I think it's got to go in quite a bit more of that. You know, to be in line, what I'm trying to do is trying to get that in line with that. Right. I'm going to say that's about it. So just over here, there's a locking nut. Let me go around the other side. Look. Just tighten that up fully, make sure it's not going nowhere. We could pull. Now this time, instead of us making it big, massive loop, you just need a short one. So that fits round the top. Now this time, it's a very small loop. Oh, done it too far. There you go. Pull that tight. Now, don't forget your secure bit. That's on. And all I'm going to do on this one, same again, I'm just going to wrap it round. I'm not tying it, I'm just wrapping it. And then just thread it wherever I can get, just to literally hold it in place so it doesn't come loose. And now what I'm going to do, tighten it up, start pumping. Look, front's coming off, back's come off, front's coming off. It is going up. Like I said, if you try it with your foot, what I find is it wiggles all over. So literally, because that's quite loose. There's a bolt here, but it doesn't really do much. And that's just my honest opinion. You can see it's shaped funny. That's got a slope on it. That's just a flat, and it's not going in really well. But as I go up, I'm going to look for, I'm going to take it to the highest one this time. So, there it is. There's the highest one. Put my pin in. And then if I'm not sure, just let it down a little so it rests on that pin. There you go. I did tighten it back up, so I wouldn't trust it fully for that. Right, that's the bike on a flat level. Now when it's on this, you can see, just pull it round. You can work on it, you've got easy access. You can push it. It's just a case of manoeuvre it round. You can fit bikes wherever you want to fit them. Now, what I will say, the only thing I found is this does go down, hence keep your pin in. Other than that, you can work on it. You took the bottom fairing off so that you can get underneath. If you didn't do that, you'd have trouble working anywhere underneath here and there. So make sure you take your bottom fairing off. I did just have to move my quick shifter because I've got a rear set on it, and it was just in the way of there. So just make sure, you just got to think about it before you use it. Oh, fully. When you're not using it, don't forget, press the brakes on. You got 2 brakes, one there, one there. Bike's not going nowhere. You can take them off, then you can move it again. So there's my bike, all up on the Skylift. Now I am going to be honest, I've had this Skylift probably 4 years. I've done a lot of work on this bike with this Skylift. I did have it on the wheelie mode, so the back wheel was down, the front wheel was up, and I had it fully raised, and that was to change the gearbox on the R1. So I actually did it from underneath instead of taking the engine out, which on this one worked a treat, to be honest, because I have had to change gearboxes before and it's full engine out, whereas this time I just did it from underneath. It made it so much easier. I removed the downpipes and all the bits and bobs, but I could get in quite easy into the gearbox and change that cartridge. Really easy. Now, the only problem I did find, and this is my honest opinion, was because I had it in wheelie mode, the fork seals went. And I think what it were, because I left the front wheel on, the weight of it all was pulling on there, which then put extra strain on the fork seal. So it weren't a massive leak, it just started seeping. So I did actually have to change the fork seals. And I think that was just because it was raised so high that it pulled it back. Other than that, it's fantastic. It's an absolute fantastic piece of equipment, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Now, I do know that these connectors do fit on other bikes. So this is my old race bike, and I've got another bike, which is a BMW SORR, and it fits on the SORR. Absolutely fantastic piece of kit. Oh, I think the only bit that does let it down is this. It's too wobbly. It moves around. It's not very secure. I think that is the only weak or part that really lets this Skylift down. Other than that, yeah, it's expensive, but it's absolutely brilliant. I'd recommend one any day. Well, I hope that helped. If you liked it, please subscribe, please like, and I'll catch you later.